"Daddy, why can't we swim at the pretty pool with the white people?" Sugar Ray Robinson looks down at his 6-year-old daughter Ronnie, her small hand pointing through the chain-link fence at Bloomfield Hills Country Club's pristine swimming complex. Crystal clear water, manicured grounds, children laughing on diving boards while their parents sip cocktails under elegant umbrellas. Everything his success should provide his family, yet separated by more than just metal fencing. "Soon, sweetheart," Robinson tells her, not knowing if he's making a promise he can keep. Very soon. 2 weeks later, Robinson stands in that same country club's marble lobby, membership application in hand, about to test whether American meritocracy extends to exclusive social institutions or stops at the color line that separates achievement from acceptance. The Bloomfield Hills Club dominates 200 acres of Michigan's most expensive real estate, like a fortress of privilege. Built in 1923 by automotive industry barons, its Georgian architecture whispers old money through every brick and beam. Inside, oil paintings of founding families watch over Persian rugs that cost more than most homes. Crystal chandeliers illuminate handshake deals worth millions. This isn't just recreation, it's the nerve center where Detroit's power elite conduct the real business of American influence. Club President Harrison Whitmore III greets Robinson in his private office with the practiced smile of someone accustomed to managing delicate social situations. 58 years old, third-generation member, inheritor of automotive fortune built by grandfather's steel foundries. His corner office overlooks the 18th green, where 4 U.S. senators played yesterday morning, discussing federal highway contracts over morning whiskey. "Mr. Robinson," Whitmore says, gesturing toward leather chairs arranged around a mahogany coffee table, "your reputation precedes you. World champion boxer, successful businessman, prominent Detroit citizen, quite impressive accomplishments." Can you hear the subtle condescension in that tone? The surprise that a black man could accumulate such achievements. The underlying assumption that impressive accomplishments don't automatically translate to social acceptance. Robinson settles into the leather chair, his attorney David Coleman beside him with a portfolio containing documentation that would impress any reasonable membership committee. But they're not dealing with reasonable evaluation. They're confronting institutional gatekeeping designed to preserve social hierarchies that transcend individual merit. "Thank you, Mr. Whitmore." Robinson responds with dignity that refuses to acknowledge the condescension. "I'm interested in membership because I believe Bloomfield Hills represents the finest recreational and social opportunities Detroit offers. My family would benefit greatly from club facilities and community." Whitmore examines Robinson's application materials with theatrical thoroughness. Financial statements showing 8-figure net worth, investment portfolios diversified across automotive, real estate, entertainment industries, charitable contributions exceeding most members' annual dues, business references from Fortune 500 executives who've profited from deals Robinson brokered. Picture the internal calculation happening behind Whitmore's polite exterior. Individual qualifications that exceed most current members versus institutional precedent that has never admitted black applicants regardless of achievement. "Your financial credentials are certainly substantial," Whitmore acknowledges, "but club membership involves considerations beyond economic capacity. We maintain particular standards regarding character, social compatibility, community reputation." Social compatibility, the euphemism that transforms racial exclusion into quality assurance. Coleman, Robinson's attorney, leans forward with legal precision. "Mr. Whitmore, could you specify what character or reputation concerns might exist regarding Mr. Robinson? His public record demonstrate exemplary citizenship, business ethics, family values." The legal challenge forces Whitmore to articulate objections he prefers to keep implicit. Usually undesirable applicants withdraw when faced with vague standards. They understand the coded language and look elsewhere for social acceptance. But Robinson isn't withdrawing. He's forcing explicit confrontation with policies designed to remain hidden. The concern, Whitmore says carefully, isn't about Mr. Robinson personally. It's about membership impact on existing club culture, member comfort levels, long-standing institutional traditions that define our community character. Member comfort levels, institutional traditions, the language that makes prejudice sound like preservation of community standards. What Whitmore doesn't realize is that he's not just rejecting club membership, he's challenging Robinson's understanding of what American success actually means when confronted by exclusive social institutions. "Mr. Whitmore," Robinson says quietly, "let me ask directly, are you suggesting that my race disqualifies me from membership regardless of my achievements, character, or financial capacity?" The directness catches Whitmore off guard. He's accustomed to managing these conversations through implication, never explicit acknowledgement of racial barriers. "Mr. Robinson, that's an oversimplification. We consider multiple factors." "Which factors specifically exclude me?" Robinson interrupts. I've provided financial documentation, character references, community involvement records. What additional standards must I meet that other applicants don't? Each question strips away euphemisms and exposes the racial mathematics underlying club admission policies. Can you feel the tension building in that mahogany-paneled office? One man demanding equal treatment while another defends institutional barriers he can't acknowledge openly. Coleman adds legal pressure to Robinson's moral argument. Mr. Whitmore, if club membership depends on factors beyond documented qualifications, we need explicit criteria to ensure non-discriminatory evaluation. The legal language creates liability concerns Whitmore didn't expect. Usually these conversations end with polite rejections and no further complications. But then something unexpected happens that changes everything. The office door opens, and automotive executive William Ford Jr. enters unannounced, expecting to discuss upcoming charity tournament details with Whitmore. Ford stops when he sees Robinson. Recognition immediate. Sugar Ray Robinson, what an honor, Ford says with genuine enthusiasm, extending his hand. My sons are huge fans. They've followed every one of your fights. Are you considering membership here? The interruption from prominent member creates complications Whitmore didn't anticipate. Ford's enthusiasm undermines arguments about member discomfort or community resistance. Mr. Ford, Robinson replies, shaking hands warmly. Yes, I've applied for membership. Mr. Whitmore was explaining club standards and evaluation criteria. Ford looks between Robinson and Whitmore with growing understanding of the situation's dynamics. Standards? Ford asks with subtle edge to his voice. Sugar Ray, you're probably more accomplished than 90% of our current membership. World champion, successful businessman, community leader. What standards could possibly apply? This is where everything changes, where member endorsement meets institutional resistance, where individual achievement gets weighed against social precedent. Whitmore realizes he's losing control of the narrative completely. Ford's support eliminates member comfort arguments. Robinson's qualifications exceed most current members. The rejection must be defended explicitly or abandoned entirely. Bill, Whitmore says diplomatically, membership decisions involve complex considerations beyond individual achievements. Committee review, reference verification, cultural compatibility assessments. Cultural compatibility, Ford interrupts with barely concealed disgust. Harrison, what culture is Mr. Robinson incompatible with? American success culture, sports excellence culture, business achievement culture. The challenge from established member adds authority to Robinson's arguments that Whitmore can't dismiss easily. But Ford isn't finished applying pressure. You know what? I'll sponsor Mr. Robinson's membership, personally. Put my family name behind his application. Anyone questioning his qualifications can address those concerns with me directly. Can you imagine the power shift that sponsorship creates? Ford's family helped found the club. His endorsement carries weight. Whitmore can't ignore without serious consequences. The sponsorship offer transforms Robinson's application from outsider request to insider recommendation. Whitmore faces institutional crisis, reject Ford's sponsored candidate and risk alienating influential member, or approve black membership and face resistance from traditionalist faction. Coleman seizes the momentum Ford created. Mr. Whitmore, given Mr. Ford's sponsorship, and Mr. Robinson's documented qualifications, what specific procedures govern membership approval? The procedural question forces institutional compliance with stated policies rather than unstated prejudices. Whitmore realizes he needs reinforcement from club leadership. This decision transcends his individual authority when prominent members actively support black membership. Gentlemen, Whitmore says, applications of this significance require full board review. I'll convene emergency session this afternoon. All board members will evaluate Mr. Robinson's qualifications thoroughly.
Emergency session. The language suggests Robinson's application represents crisis requiring immediate institutional response.
But Ford volunteers to attend the board meeting as Robinson's advocate. His presence ensures the evaluation won't occur in isolation from member support. The board meeting convenes 3 hours later in the club's executive conference room. 12 board members, representing Detroit's most powerful families, gathering to decide whether American meritocracy applies to exclusive social institutions. Ford presents Robinson's case with passion that surprises everyone, emphasizes achievements, character, community contributions, argues that club exclusivity should attract excellence rather than exclude it based on irrelevant demographic considerations. Other board members raise traditional concerns about precedent, member reactions, institutional culture, but Ford counters each objection with specific examples of Robinson's qualifications and character. The debate reveals fundamental tension within exclusive institutions, between merit-based selection and demographic preservation, between individual achievement and group identity, between stated American values and practiced social hierarchies. After 2 hours of discussion, the board votes 7 members support Robinson's admission, 5 oppose, not overwhelming endorsement, but sufficient majority to grant membership. The victory represents more than individual acceptance. It establishes precedent for future minority applicants with similar qualifications, proves that institutional barriers can be overcome when individual merit meets influential advocacy. Word spreads rapidly through Detroit's Black professional community. If Sugar Ray Robinson can join Bloomfield Hills Club, other accomplished families can challenge exclusive institutions that claim merit-based selection. Progressive white members begin actively supporting minority membership applications. They recognize that diversity enhances rather than threatens institutional prestige, when based on achievement rather than demographics. Conservative members resign in protest, but their departure strengthens rather than weakens the club's reputation. Media coverage emphasizes progressive policies that attract accomplished members regardless of background. Federal oversight of discriminatory private clubs increases after Robinson's successful integration. Civil rights organizations use the precedent to challenge exclusive institutions across the country. Within 5 years, Bloomfield Hills becomes model for integrated elite institutions nationwide. Membership includes prominent minorities across industries: doctors, lawyers, executives, artists. The diversity enhances networking opportunities and business connections for all members. Robinson's successful integration influences other exclusive clubs across America. Progressive members use the Bloomfield Hills precedent to advocate for merit-based membership criteria, rather than demographic restrictions. National media coverage creates positive publicity for integrated institutions. Business journals write about competitive advantages of diverse professional networks. The club's tournaments become more prestigious with accomplished members from various backgrounds. Robinson's children grow up swimming in those crystal pools, playing on tennis courts, participating in youth programs that develop leadership skills. They form friendships across racial lines that create lasting social and professional connections. The club's charitable activities increase with diverse membership, bringing different perspectives on community needs. Fundraising becomes more successful with broader donor base and varied connections. Member satisfaction surveys show integrated membership enhances club experience. Members report more interesting conversations, broader networks, and greater community pride in belonging to progressive institution. Federal monitoring of discriminatory private institutions intensifies. Civil rights organizations use the precedent to challenge exclusive institutions claiming merit-based selection while maintaining racial barriers. Legal scholars cite the Bloomfield Hills case in academic papers about institutional discrimination and social change. The case becomes required reading in business schools, teaching organizational change and competitive advantage through diversity. Corporate recruitment benefits from diverse professional networks, providing access to qualified candidates from various backgrounds. Companies realize diverse hiring becomes easier with integrated social institutions. The economic impact proves substantial when diverse networks generate increased business opportunities and creative solutions. Economic studies show integrated social institutions produce measurable benefits for regional economies. Robinson understood something powerful that afternoon. Sometimes the most important fights aren't in boxing rings or courtrooms. They're in social institutions where access gets determined by prejudice disguised as standards. The victory wasn't just about country club membership. It proved American achievement deserves acceptance regardless of race. That exclusive institutions strengthen when excellence becomes the only exclusion criterion. Think about exclusive institutions claiming merit-based selection while maintaining demographic barriers. Professional organizations, social clubs, educational institutions preserving power through exclusion rather than celebrating excellence. Because 3 hours of challenging institutional prejudice can change entire social systems forever, can prove merit transcends racial boundaries when properly evaluated, can demonstrate American success belongs to everyone achieving it through talent and determination. Robinson didn't just join that country club. He opened doors for every accomplished American, refusing exclusion based on anything other than lack of qualification. That's individual courage supported by institutional allies choosing merit over prejudice. The ripple effects of Robinson's membership victory extend far beyond Bloomfield Hills Club. Other exclusive institutions across Detroit begin reviewing their admission policies. The precedent creates momentum for broader social integration based on achievement rather than ancestry. Years later, Robinson's daughter Ronnie, the little girl who asked about swimming with white children, becomes the club's first Black board member. Her election represents complete institutional transformation from exclusion to leadership opportunity, based purely on qualification and community contribution. The club's centennial history, published in 1995, features Robinson's membership fight prominently, as turning point toward institutional excellence. The chapter titled Merit Over Prejudice becomes required reading for new member orientation, ensuring future generations understand the principles that transformed their institution. Robinson's strategy of combining individual excellence with institutional allies becomes model for challenging exclusive organizations nationwide. The approach proves more effective than direct confrontation because it appeals to stated institutional values rather than attacking fundamental structures. Business schools begin teaching case studies about the Robinson method of institutional change through merit-based advocacy supported by progressive insiders. The strategy becomes standard approach for diversity and inclusion initiatives across corporate America. The psychological impact on Robinson's family proves profound. His children grow up with confidence that American institutions belong to everyone, qualified to participate. They never accept exclusion as inevitable or justified, understanding that barriers exist to be challenged through preparation and persistence. Medical research on social integration outcomes uses Bloomfield Hills as case study, demonstrating health benefits of integrated social institutions. Studies show that diverse social networks improve mental health, reduce stress, and increase life satisfaction for members across all demographic groups.